Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to our architecture tour of Dishonored. And it's a foggy evening here in Dunwall, and today we are going to go visit Dunwall Tower. Wait a minute, you say, haven't we visited Dunwall Tower already? Yes, but we're coming back to Dunwall Tower. You might notice there's a bit more metal this time. It's because Dunwall Tower has been turned into the fortress of the Lord Regent. So here we are back in the waterlock, or the ship elevator. But this is not where the interesting stuff... I mean, this is pretty much the same as last time, although there's more lights. More lights have been added to the lock. But through here, you'll notice there are new security things, and there are new steel things retrofitted onto the old bridge. Look at that. So they've attached a steel ceiling onto the roof of this bridge here to reinforce it, turn it into some sort of fortress. And then, oh, this is cool. So they do this so that you can't actually see the tower itself until you get closer. So you don't see the changes until you get to this point. And then all of a sudden there's a giant fortress. So if you remember, it used to be what was it? A Victorian palace. Now it's turning into a giant steel castle, like something out of the Lord of the Rings, like the Tower of Sauron or something. Look at that! It's a giant metal thing. So around here, there's also more metal things. So they've added, on top of the old stone walls, they've added more steel metal walls. Like the old walls, if you thought they weren't enough, now there are even more walls. Not sure why they need more walls. Anyway, I mean, it was already a fortress, right? It was already a castle, and now they've just made it more of a castle. What the? Oh, I just stood on that. So over on this side, there are not quite as many steel things, although you can see the steel columns being put in. So I'm guessing they're going to put giant steel sheets over there as well. So they're turning the whole castle into a more intimidating castle. So the thing is there's a lot of stuff in the way though. This thing is in the way of us getting a good view of this. Maybe I can climb up here. Oh, there's a decent view of it, look at that. Although maybe the view from there is also better. That is quite impressive. I mean, it turned from a rather decorative looking palace like it's transforming into a metal fortress. Isn't that cool? Isn't how cool how the architecture is changing throughout the story to become more and more oppressive? I mean, it was already a castle before, but now it's just even more of a castle. Alright, so down here, where we used to play hide and seek with Emily Coldwin, now it's being turned into, I guess they're gonna extend the fortress out here and cover all this up and turn... I don't know what they're gonna turn this into, but it's gonna become more fortified than before. Not sure if there's anything worthwhile down here to look at. Interesting though, isn't it? How they retrofit the steel structures on top of the old stone ones. And if you remember the first video, how it was, you can kind of imagine them like putting these concrete columns and then welding the sheet metal onto them. This is pretty much the same on that side. This is probably not done yet, but I'm guessing they're gonna add more security things on this side too. Is that new? I think the barbed wire down there is new. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Also very foggy, so you can't see very... Oh, there's this Culverts Bridge over there in the distance. So you can see all the locations in the game in this panorama. That's cool. Actually, don't walk that way. Alright, let's go back up. What am I stuck on? Let's go back up. And let's go into the palace. So we're not just here to revisit this area, which we've seen before, but we are actually going to go inside the old palace, which is nice. I don't think there's anything different here either, no. So this is pretty much the same, although it's darker now. and slightly spookier because it's foggy and grey. So that's not any different. So the last time we were here, this was closed up, and so we couldn't go this way. This time we can come this way. We find that the Lord Regent has put a statue of himself in front of the old palace, which is a little bit presuming if you ask me, but the Lord Regent did take over this place, and he's putting his mark onto the courtyard. I wonder how far they plan to take this metal thing. I mean, you can see that half is pretty much covered. Do they intend to cover the entire thing in metal? Like, are they going to turn the whole thing into a metal fortress? I don't know, it seems a little redundant because it already is a stone fortress. Down here there's a water pump thing. So, I'm not sure where the water comes from, but it's going down to the ocean down there, I suppose, or down to the river. There is a moat, but I feel like we're at the top of the hill, so I don't know where the water comes from. I guess they pump the water up and then let the water flow down again. What am I stuck? I keep getting stuck on things. The ground has been kind of churned up. You can see like wheel marks, or are those like those look like wheel marks. I don't know what kind of vehicles they are. Could be wheelbarrows, could be carts. But a lot of construction activity. So this is what construction activity looks like. Like, it's just kind of muddy tracks in the ground. I guess so. So this is like a driveway. Although we don't have a carriage here. There's bunk beds here. I guess people bunk here. I don't know if I thought this would be a stable of some sort. Because there's a big doors there. I think this is where the carriage or the vehicles or whatever it is they use to move around in gets parked in here. I think it's a garage or a stable if there are horses. But now there are beds there, so I guess there are bunking soldiers there too. So down these stairs, and on the other side there is a driveway of sorts. Culverts Prison. Oh yeah, okay, so now we can confirm that the prison is in fact the building behind here. If you remember, if you can, let me just get up so we can see it. So that thing there, that is the prison. And remember we spent a lot of time escaping from the prison and then jumping down into the sewers. So that is the prison, right? And that's the second video of the series. We looked through the prison. All right. We can confirm that that is indeed the prison there, and it does look like it. And the architecture of it, as we said earlier, is very different from the city, right? Concrete, very big, monolithic, a lot of verticality. It's actually very different from the existing city. Alright, let's get down. So Culverts Prison is that way. And then here we have some tracks. So the tram things can get up to here but no further, which is kind of interesting. So the tram things come in this way. Actually, let me avoid those rats. And I guess that is the main gate, or that is the main gate that leads out to the city. Although we can't actually leave this area. So deliveries into the city, I suppose, comes in through here. Which means that the front door of the palace is actually there. Because I was thinking, like, the front door of the palace faces the water. Which is a little odd. Like, usually the front door of a building faces the road. But the road, like the driveway, actually curves around here. So this is actually the front of the building. Even though it faces nothing, it faces the river, right? So usually the building would face the road, and the back of it would be towards the river. But it actually is turned around, and the driveway just comes around from the back. Alright, let's go in. And even like it's just been turned into a construction yard. Look at all this dirt and mud and tracks in the ground, and a lot of security things installed since then. How to transform a nice building into an oppressive castle. This is a case study for you. You just bolt a lot of metal onto it. Alright, so let's go and look at the inside of Dunwall Tower. The interior of Dunwall Tower looks like this. I mean, it doesn't look very extravagant. I mean, it's big, it's imposing, but not opulent, right? Not opulent in the way that the Boyle Manor is opulent, right? There's no shiny ceiling. So it's big and it is intimidating and it is grand. Grand but not luxurious, if that makes sense. There's a map here. Let's look at this map first. So Dunwall Tower, number 1, we are here. This is the entrance. You go up these stairs and then... Oh, there's a kitchen back there too. Actually, no, kitchen's downstairs. This is the staff area, or the guardhouse. So then up here we have the entryway is triple height, and then we have some rooms back there, corridor, and then there's a basement down there, and then upstairs there is rooms, and then the main bedroom is actually here. Not a lot of things are labeled here, but we will go through all of this stuff. So it's like the entryway is symmetrical. And just remember as we walk through, just try and keep this map in mind so that you don't get too confused. Alright, so this bottom bit is this bottom bit, and then the staircase goes up, right? This is a triple height space. Look how tall this space is. A grand entryway to intimidate people who come visit. I'm not sure about that steel stuff. Is that new or was that always here? There's some steel construction like that stuff there. Oh, I think this is new because they've added to the towers, or maybe this is to reinforce the structure of the building. I'm not sure actually. Can we get a closer look? So this, I presume, is original. This is dark wood paneling, I think, or it could be metal. I'm not sure. So this stuff is what I'm talking about up here. So there are steel columns, look at that, steel columns bolted against the wall. I would read this as retrofitted, and I would read that also as retrofitted. So I think what they're doing is they're bracing the wall so that it can hold the weight of the additional metal on the outside. I think that's what that is. We have some paintings here, look at that, that's Culverts Bridge. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But we've seen that before. Where should we go first? I guess we should go do this one floor at a time, right? So back here there is a staff area. This is the kitchen? Right, this is the kitchen. So the kitchen, interestingly, is near the front door. I'm not sure if this is good or not. There's a staircase up here, but we're not gonna go up there yet. So the kitchen is right here, and if we come back to the main area and go up these staircases, there are 2 towers. So there's a tower. Remember the front of the building. There's 2 towers on the side, right? So the 2 towers are here. So we are in the bottom of one of the towers now. We can't go up from this level, but there is a staircase above us. And then on the other side, similarly on the other side, there is a tower. Let me just run over there. Similarly on the other side, there is a tower, and as you can see, there's stairs, and the tower goes up there. We're not going to climb up the tower yet. So again, the inside of the tower, you see there's these steel elements, and in fact the staircase is steel, or metal at least. Would this be new or would this be old? This should be relatively new then, the staircase, if we assume that the technology in the game is consistent. This staircase would then be retrofitted in. I don't know what this used to be then, but a steel staircase has been built in here. So let's stick to the main areas first. Maybe we should stick to the main areas and then we'll go visit the service areas after. So that is a staff area. So if we come back here, symmetrical with the front door is the entryway into the ground floor. What can we say about this architecture? As I said, I mean it's grand, but it's not beautiful, right? Like it's black. It's black and it's white. I mean, there's red carpet, but it's very well, it's not austere. It's more like it's dour. It's more just grim. Like it's not very bright. It's not very vibrant. It's kind of grim, isn't it? It's very black but there's a lot of details. Like there's detailing. I guess I would say like somehow it is both wealthy and unwelcoming. Like somehow there's a lot of wealth here, but it doesn't feel like home. Like it doesn't feel like you want to live here. It feels like maybe like a courthouse, or maybe like something grim, something unpleasant. I mean this is like this gilded, like there's like bright metal bits. And the lights are fancy, but somehow it doesn't feel homely, you know what I mean? And it is kind of consistent, I think, with the story that the role of the Empress is not a pleasant one. Like there's a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight, a lot of work. And it's kind of grim work. Over here, we have the dining room. So I said earlier, the kitchen is kind of in a weird place because the kitchen is on the other side. If you imagine the dining room was on the other side and there was like a staircase up to the dining room, that would make a little more sense because having the dining room closer to the kitchen would make sense. But no, the kitchen is actually on the other side of the symmetrical axis. And so I guess if you want dinner, they have to carry it all the way from the kitchen over here. Down the middle, we have... I guess this is like a sitting room or a waiting room. And then we have displays of things, books and displays. Displays of technology and also displays of valuable things, but I've stolen them. So you see the broken glass there, it's because I've stolen the things. Behind this, on this side, this is just a hallway. That is odd. The ceiling pattern doesn't line up with the walls. That's a little... The fact that it doesn't line up it's actually kind of strange. But if we ignore that, yeah, it's a lot of black and white. It's very grey, isn't it? This place, grey and somehow wealthy, but also unpleasant. Back here in the corner, we have a shrine to the Church of the Everyman. But it's scriptures, so I'm telling you to behave. It's double story too, so there's upstairs. And then on this side, which is the left side of the palace, there is... I don't know what it used to be, but it's been packed up. Like all the tables are packed up and there's crates everywhere. So whatever this room used to be, it's no longer that. It's just been... Everything's being packed up, and this is also being packed up. It's a bath. And then some chairs and boxes and shelves. I mean, this might have been a bedroom at one point, I don't know. So we don't know what it used to be used for, but everything's been packed up. Again, we're adding to the sense that it's not really a place for you to live. Like, it's not... Like, this palace is not a nice place to live. I mean, for one, there's the greyness of everything. And the oversized nature of things also makes things kind of odd. Like, everything feels too big and therefore not homely. And then there's this, like, it's all packed up, so nobody seems to live here anymore. it all evokes the impression that it could be nicer, right? I mean, this place could be nicer, but somehow it's very unwelcoming. And I believe that is the exact feeling that they want to evoke in the player. Is like somehow all this power and all this money is not pleasant. It's not something that you really want any part of. Alright, so on this side we have service areas. So the guard room is back here, and now on this side you can see that the decorations are gone. And we're back to the cheap bunks, and we're back to the cheap walls, and we're back to the cheap sinks. And then the cheap lockers, everything is cheap, and the exposed pipes. So the workers, the guards and the servants work in the service areas, and this goes back to the kitchen, by the way. So the kitchen is down here. We've been here before. Really, look at this brick. Exposed brick. Feels like a basement. You have to wonder if this is... I mean, I get it, but would you really do this? Like, if you were the Empress, and this was your palace, would you just leave the servants' quarters like this? Or would you try to make them a bit nicer too, if you were the Empress? I mean, presumably you have a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get what they're trying to say. What they're trying to say is that the ordinary people and the workers are left behind and don't get to experience the wealth that the aristocracy and the imperial family experience. So I understand they're emphasizing the inequality in this society. But would you really do this? If you lived in the palace, would you really just not bother tidying up the servants' quarters? I don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of empress you want to be. This leads back into the main areas of the palace. Back here we have dining areas, or like a mess hall for the workers. Hey, that's cool. And then back here we have more bunks where the servants sleep. Down here we have a basement. And believe it or not, a torture chamber, although it's not, it's kind of impromptu. So there's a basement here, and there's a guy who was being tortured. He's dead now. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the basement. It's not really... Well, there's rings here to tie people up. Maybe it's always been a torture chamber. Can't really tell. I mean, I guess it could have been used for storage too. No. This is legs and arms. Okay, this is a torture chamber. It's not obvious, but this is a purpose-built torture chamber. Alright. Now that we have resolved that confusion, let's get out of here. I mean, it doesn't speak well of the ruling family, does it? That they have a torture chamber in the basement. Back here we have toilets, again for the workers, and you can see, I mean, there's still a mode. In fact, if we come back here, I was noting this a little earlier. This place is leaking water, look at that. This place is leaking, like, it's really poorly maintained. Behind all the opulence, and behind all the fancy wood paneling and the detailing and the gilding, things are actually falling apart in the background. That's what the architecture implies, right? Also, there's a lot of shelves, but there's hardly any books left. Everything's sad, isn't it? Everything about this palace is just sad. Like, there's shelves with no books on it. Everything's grey and everything's kind of packed up. But that's the point. Like, the point of it is that this is actually sad. Is that the Lord Regent? Did they actually change the floor tiles as well? Because you would imagine this would still be the old Empress, The Lord Regent has only been here for a few months, I think. Anyway, so let's go upstairs. Upstairs, and the stairs turn back towards the front door. So the front door is downstairs up there. So up on this level, straight in on the line of symmetry of the palace, this is the bedroom. Or this is the royal bedroom, although the Lord Regent has taken over. Hey, look at that ceiling, isn't that cool? It's really bright though. Where's that light coming from? I don't know if it's a translucent ceiling with lights behind it or what is it. But this is a super impressive room, very white. Again, like it's just kind of, it's just grey. Well, it looks a little blue on the screen actually, but it's kind of blue and grey and black and it's just cold. It just looks cold. You know what I mean? It looks cold. It looks too big. It looks too bright, and the light is a little harsh. So this is meant to be the bedroom. The bedroom meant to be the most comfortable room in a house. And it feels like this, so it just feels kind of harsh. And that really summarizes the entire power structure, and the entire Dunwall regime is harsh. Like it's a police state, so it's harsh. And even the bedroom of the Lord Regent is harsh. It's like it feels like somebody tried to make this a nice room, but somehow got it wrong. Doesn't it? I mean, it's nice and clean, right? Like it's wide, it's clean, it's got all the right bits and pieces. I mean, the bed is you know, it seems like a nice enough bed. There's the furniture, there's paintings, there's a fireplace. But somehow it seems like they just... It's missing a softness, right? It's missing kindness, it's missing softness, it's missing a sense of familiarity, like it feels strange. And it feels a little like it feels alien. It does feel alien. It's incredible how you can make a bedroom with presumably all the right pieces, how you can make that feel alien. So they managed to do that here, amazing. Here we have probably a retrofitted steel balcony overlooking the front door. So there's a front door down there. Triple height space, as we said, and the two towers are in the corners there. But before we go into the towers, I am going to walk around this floor first. So on one side we have another library with some chairs. At least there's books here. So up here is less black and white. There's a bit of brown, there's a bit of wood, there's a bit of red. So this room feels warmer. This is nice. I mean, this is maybe the only place that's actually occupied in the whole palace. Over here we have large empty halls. And then we have rooms. This is the office of the general, I believe, if I remember right. So I mean, like, sometimes when the space is too big, it feels alienating. So this space is a little smaller, and it feels like a proper office. It feels like an office that's occupied by somebody, although it's still quite grey and quite blue, so it feels quite cold, right? If we keep moving forward. Another little room, a bedroom. I think this is the general's bedroom. Slightly warmer and slightly smaller, so the fireplace actually manages to warm this room a little bit. And then as we go around, there's a secret room behind the fireplace, but that's not that important. So the upper floor is warmer than the ground floor. So this is more brown and yellow, whereas it's more black and grey downstairs. Up here, another sitting room. And then back here, there's the it's a little shrine to the temple, or to the Church of the Everyman. And there's more books up here, right? And then on this side we have... Oh, this is the same sitting room. Okay, let's keep going. And then here we have, I don't know what this is, storage. I guess this is storage. And then back there is the bedroom again, and then on this side of the bedroom there is a piano room. Alright, a piano and a harp and some paintings. So this is kinda nicer. I mean, it's yellow. Yellow is better than grey. Although it's a little fake, like it's a little artificial. The tone of the yellow is kinda artificial, isn't it? It seems a little too yellow. It's more like it's more a chemical yellow than a nice natural yellow. And then on this side we can enter the tower here. We won't go there yet. So I think all we have left are the two towers. Look at this piano though. Oh, there's not much detail inside. Can I play this? Not really. I mean, I can bang on it. Alright, so let's go to the other tower first, because the other tower is a bit of a dead end. Oh, this is a toilet, and it's been appropriated for security purposes. They put the power supply for this wall of light in the toilet, which is an interesting choice. Alright, so as we walk over here into this tower, so this is the tower with more metal on it. If you remember, if you're facing forward, this is the tower, or if you're facing the front door, this is the tower on the right, which had more metal on it. And the reason it had so much metal is, if we get up there, if we get up here, there is a broadcasting station up here, so there's a microphone there. And so they've turned one of the towers into a broadcasting antenna where they broadcast propaganda from the palace. So that's what the right side tower has turned into. The left side tower is just the staircase up to the roof, which is where we're going next. Let me just run back down again. So as you can see, there's the front door again. So, you know, the front door is there, so as you come in, this is the right side tower. So let me run back to the other side. Back through the cold bedroom. And back out here. Like, everything just feels too big, right? Everything just seems a little too big, a little too empty. It's like something's not right, like something's not there, or like not everything is there. That's what they've made the palace feel like, and that is consistent with the story that they want to tell. It's like the regime doesn't really have a heart. Like if you open up the regime and look inside, you find out that everybody is hollow inside. That's what this palace is. Like this palace, it looks kind of, I mean, it looks like a fortress now. It used to look beautiful, now it looks like a fortress. But you go inside, it's like it's half abandoned, and the rooms are too big and too cold, and people aren't there. So that's what the architecture is supposed to invoke. It's like somehow it's missing a heart, is what's going on here. So here we are at the rooftop of the palace, and you can see on that side is the metal tower. That's the broadcasting antenna. And they've also added a bunch of metal walls up here as well, and a balcony. So if we look back down, there's where the boats and the water lock is, and then there's the gazebo, and then there's the courtyard, or the front courtyard, and the front door is right underneath us. So now we're looking back towards where we came from. And if we remember from the ground, we could see these things. There's these kind of these strange columns that don't seem to do anything. I mean, they're not holding anything up, but they're like strange Greco-Roman columns at the top of the building, and you're never sure what they are. But now that we're here, you can see a little bit of smoke coming out of it. So what they might be is they might be chimneys disguised as columns. Because otherwise, I don't know why there would be smoke there. So it could be their chimneys disguised as columns. I don't know why you would do that. But there you go. It's difficult to imagine what this place would have looked like before it got turned into a metal fortress. But you can see there's another tower back there, and another tower back there. And then there's this space, which has been turned into a secure, like a secure panic room. Although again, I don't know what it would have been before it was renovated into a secure panic room. Let me see if I can figure it out, right? So this turns out to be chimneys, and then in here, there's like shelves filled with books. Shelves filled with books in a little structure on top of the roof. And then, okay, let me just not get stuck on those things. And then there's like shelves back here. It's a library? They put a library at the top of the building? Okay, there's bunks there. I don't know who would sleep there though. I don't know what this is meant to be. And then on this side there's a staircase. We can't go through there. Let me just jump through here. Oh, I should have come up these stairs. So there's books there, and then here. Oh, this is the war room. Okay, all right, I remember now. Although you notice it's been reinforced with metal too, so this always was a war room, I guess. Planning room key. Okay, this is the planning room or the war room. And okay, so there's a map back there. There's another map here. So I guess this is what happens, or this is where people govern the empire from when there are emergencies. I'm not sure you would put it on the roof though. Usually stuff like this would be in the basement where it's more secure. Like, you know, if you get attacked, it's more difficult to break into an underground chamber. So I think the war room in the White House in the United States is underground. I think this serves a similar purpose, but for some reason they put it on the roof, which I don't think is sensible, but you know. It has been reinforced with the metal stuff, and in fact we can... So Dunwall is there, we can look at these maps too. White Cliff is there. Dunwall... What is that? Potter's Dead, and then Bastillon, Seguanto, Calero, and then a few islands there. Not that it makes any sense to us because it doesn't really, we don't really have these places described to us. We've only ever been in Dunwall, which is where we are now. Alright, so at the very top of the building there's a war room. And I suppose all these documents are related to war, or maybe the administration of the empire. All right, so that is Dunwall Tower, and Dunwall Tower is actually a palace. Is there anything else for us to say about Dunwall Tower? I don't think so. The architecture, I mean the interior decorations, everything's just a little too big, right? Everything just feels a little too big. Let me walk through again, one more time. I mean, things are... You almost feel like they've done what they're obligated to do. But there's no feeling in it. There's no heart in it, right? I mean, a piano room, sure, but there's nothing else. Like there's nothing. It doesn't say anything. It's just, I mean, it's yellow. There's a piano in it, but it doesn't say anything. You know what I mean? And in this stuff, okay, there's wood paneling. It's a hallway. And then there's kind of large hallways with little alcoves leading to windows. But What does this say? It doesn't say anything. It's just big. It's just big and like there's no identity, right? And I think that's deliberate. It's not that they didn't know what to put in here. It's that they deliberately made it so that it feels like a veneer of opulence, but there's nothing really behind it, right? And everything's a little too empty. And like, you know, like aside from the color, the bedroom is kind of the same as the piano room, and it's the same as the hallways. Like there's no identity. There's no, you know what I mean? I hope you can tell what I mean. Like all the pieces are technically there, but somehow it still feels like there's nothing there. It's like a mannequin instead of a person. You know what I mean? Like all the body parts are there, but it's not alive. It's kind of what this building is. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like all the architectural parts are there, but somehow it's not alive. And even though it's well maintained, it's still dead. And like it's very subtle. It's very subtle, but things like, you know, things are packed away in boxes. Things are a little too big, a little too empty. It's uncanny in that way. It's uncanny in a very subtle way. And I guess, you know, the dining room, like there's no food, there's no plates on the dining room, everything is a little too clean. It's like nobody lives here. It's like they're pretending that somebody lives here, but nobody actually lives here. Right? And that is the sense that they want to evoke about this empire. It's like, it appears to be an empire. Like Dunwall appears to be an empire. This appears to be a palace. But maybe the time of the empire is past. Like it's not. There's nothing here anymore. All right. Let's get back out the main door. Which is a contrast to what's outside, because outside they've turned it into a construction yard, right? Like all the dirt and all the mud and all the tracks in the ground. Like there's a lot of sign of activities. There's a sign of a lot of activities, but it's on the outside, and it's for the purpose of turning this thing into a fortress. So they're trying really hard to turn a hollow palace into a fortress. So they're trying really hard to defend something that's not really there anymore. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's the sense that this architecture invokes or evokes. All right, I'm going to end the video here before I ramble on too much. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, so let's end with this scene. In trying to turn it into a fortress, they've somehow killed the palace. Like the palace is dead.